So welcome back, episode 6, week 6 of the Check the Number Sports Podcast. I'm Dan, my co-host Pat and Zach. How you guys doing today?
Doing wonderful. Well, I'll get into why I'm doing so wonderful in the podcast, but how you doing, Dan?
I'm doing great. I think we have a really good episode today. How about you, Zach?
I'm doing good. Super Bowl Sunday yesterday. Unfortunately, I entered health and safety protocols today, so I'm sidelined for a while, but I'm ready.
Yep. All right. And speaking of Super Bowl Sunday, we can get into that first. The Rams took down the Bengals 23-20. I think it was a good game. I think it was not as good as I thought it would be. I think both teams kind of didn't play their best games, but I think we saw the Rams had a better roster and they were the best team.
No, yeah. I will say I called it. My score prediction.
You were 1 point off.
They missed the extra point.
I missed extra point.
They messed up the extra point. I was so close. So close.
That was actually pretty sick.
But it was like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a snooze show until the second half. I'd say the second half, because literally what the Rams, they were just like running the ball. But they were being so
weird. 19 carries
conservative
for 30 yards,
and like 10 of those yards came in like the fourth quarter when Cam Akers was like bodying his way to the goal line. Like
we were talking about during the game.
Conservative. I don't really get it, but yeah, it was, the second half was really fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie.
We were talking about during the game. We were like, stop running the ball.
Like why are they running the ball? Literally every single time they pass the ball, they would just light up the Bengals. Okay, I know he had 2 interceptions, but okay, let's be real. The first interception where he threw it like 50 yards down the field, he's just trying to make something happen. I really don't blame him for that. The second one, that was just, it wasn't, I'm not saying it was the best throw, but that should not have been an interception by that whatever white guy it was.
Okay,
that wasn't.
I was thinking, but well, he'll be working at McDonald's next year, so the Rams don't have to worry about him again.
It's definitely one of those. It's like it gives Belichick type of vibes, where there's some guy just getting groceries at Walmart, and then McVay just went up to him and
become an NFL receiver.
You're pretty tall. You want to become a receiver? So that should not have been interceptions. It was really 2 Mickey Mouse interceptions. So
I think overall Stafford played a good game.
Yeah, definitely.
He came out
entire scope.
I think both quarterbacks played pretty good games. So.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, the Rams definitely weren't at their best. They were playing very sloppy. I think obviously the run game, and Stafford did have a few bad throws. There was that one trick play where Cooper Kupp missed Stafford wide open. That would have been a big play.
Although he would have got lit up.
He would have got
lit.
He probably would have.
But I think overall, both teams didn't really play to their potential, but the better team did end up winning. And I don't know. I feel like this kind of cemented Stafford's legacy in my eyes as a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he needed that one.
Yeah.
I think so.
I
don't think he's going to be like a lock, but he's got a really strong case.
He still has a lot of career left, so
he does.
Only time will tell. So, but
I think a lot of Rams players' legacies were cemented yesterday.
Yeah,
definitely. The names go on and on: Stafford, Odell, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, Von Miller, Andre Whitworth. I mean, on and on. The names, it just continues. And I'll say one thing about the team that lost: T. Higgins is that guy. He's that guy.
Wow.
I know there might have been a penalty on it, but he's good. He is right. There was a penalty.
Do you not see?
Should have been a
penalty. He almost
decapitated Ramsey.
There should have been a penalty. But he still is that guy. He's a really solid receiver.
He's their X factor.
Like he was their X factor in that game. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, and also staying on topic of receivers, kind of. Jamar Chase was the right pick for the Bengals, but they lost because they didn't have an O-line.
Yes, for sure.
In that
game. They were an average O-line in the regular season, but they just really got exposed. In the playoffs.
We knew it was going to happen.
In the playoffs, they just got exposed, and then in the Super Bowl, like I think LA had 11 QB hits, 7 sacks.
I mean, they showed a stat that was like, it was like the most sacked quarterback in Super Bowl history, I think.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that thing where it was like the aerial shot of the last play, and Jamar Chase was like,
Jamar Chase was wide open.
And if Burrow had like 0.5 more of a second, he would have
and also
potentially hit Chase for the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, and I also don't get why I don't get why Joe Mixon wasn't on the field for the last 2 plays. And
Dude,
I also
why
don't
they put in Samaj P. Ryan?
And
what
on
are they
Samaje
doing?
Perine, how do you not dive on the last play? You're
Couldn't tell if he
line.
dropped it
The
or if it
ball is
hit the
right in
turf
front of
right
him.
before.
The ball is right in front of you. How do you not dive?
I
mean,
I
seriously.
really don't know. I really don't this is what I don't get with Zach Taylor. There are some like crucial situations. They'll be in like the 2-minute drill, and Joe Mixon will not be on the field. And this
2 plays to get 1 yard.
This frustrates me as a fantasy owner too, because even not just this year. I mean, this year it was better, but last year when he was injured, but like when he was on the field in 2-minute drills and critical situations, Giovanni Bernard would be in the game, and I'd just be thinking, what are they doing? Joe Mixon is obviously the better player. And the thing is, look, he was a good pass catcher in college too. So I don't get why they don't use him like the way that they should be. Like,
Yeah.
He's arguably their most dynamic playmaker. Like,
arguably.
I feel like
I don't get why
this game showed, like, a lot of people were saying how Zach Taylor is like an elite coach, and I think this game proved how, like,
I agree with that.
He
was my pick for coach of the year,
him
but
being like a Doug Peterson type, where he's consistently average to above average and gets to the top of the mountain. Although they lost, but it's close enough, and he's just consistently.
I think you also saw.
Okay.
I think you saw his inexperience a little bit. Like, he's only in his 3rd year. This is the biggest game of his career, and he didn't call the right plays when it came down to it.
Not the right personnel. He just hasn't done that his entire coaching career.
I mean, honestly, they had a decent game plan. I mean,
they did, yeah.
When it came, they contained Donald in the first half, and they were able to move the ball a little bit. But
Jamar Chase, he had a pretty decent game against Ramsey, I would say. And then obviously had the big play with T. Higgins. You know, it was we know the controversy. It was a big play nevertheless. So
yeah.
The one thing I will say, I always hate how, like, this overall, I'd say it was a pretty good game, because I'd say, like, close scoring games are exciting, even if it's not like high scoring. But the one thing I will say, I hate when these great games end in controversy with these I'm sorry. If you hold a guy, it's going to get called. Not every holding call, just because you don't like it, isn't a holding call. It's a holding call. He held. Logan Wilson held Cooper Kupp.
The definition of the rule.
I'm sorry, but like I just hate how this game is so, like, it was so exciting, and it's going to be tainted because there's refs got it wrong, even though the refs didn't get it wrong.
If anything, if the Bengals
won wrong.
If anything, if the Bengals won, it would have been Rams versus refs.
Exactly.
That would have been like one of the most controversial Super Bowls ever.
I mean, that would have been much more of a headline than Bengals versus refs.
That would completely swayed the outcome of the game. But yeah, those were in the fourth quarter, like, they couldn't contain Cooper Kupp. And you know what? And they just had to hold him. They couldn't do anything else. And you know,
Eli Apple got burned.
The Super Bowl MVP.
Warms my heart.
Guy.
I mean, that's the greatest wide receiver season ever.
Our guy, Cooper Kupp. Wow. I mean, he didn't really have the best first half, but then in the second half, he showed up.
Yeah, dude, he had 8 catches, 90 yards, and 2 touchdowns. If it wasn't Cooper Kupp, you'd be saying that was an amazing game.
Especially in the absence of Beckham, like the way he stepped up, and like on the last drive, he literally like took over, like, and he was open every play.
Every single play.
And you also saw how important Odell Beckham was, because when he went out, the offense just looked.
They stagnated. They did for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they were just trying to run the ball with Cam Akers, but that was total joke. But hey, they got away with it. They won. They deserved it. Congrats to the Rams. So
yeah.
But one more thing. Cooper Kupp. Okay, I know. Like last week, I had him as my second best He's top 2, but he ain't second anymore. He's number 1. Arguably the best wide receiver season ever. Offensive player of the year, Super Bowl MVP. He could have. Okay, I'm not saying
Triple
he deserves
crown.
MVP.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
crown.
and the Triple Crown. He could have won MVP. He got
He
MVP
should have
votes.
got consideration. Yeah.
Yeah,
He deserves consideration.
He deserved more consideration than Jonathan Taylor did.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But Cooper Kupp is the best receiver in the league. I don't want to hear it anymore. Stop slandering him.
Yeah, dude. That has to stop. But we've talked about that enough.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can look ahead to the offseason outlook for Cincinnati and Los Angeles. The Rams, they put everything into it.
Mhm.
It was win or bust for them, and they did it. And for the
Oh.
Bengals, it's going to be tough for them to get back because they're going to have to go through Mahomes and Allen and Herbert and Lamar Jackson and the Steelers and the Broncos and these other teams who just need a quarterback. And I think it's going to be tough for them to get back.
I agree. I mean, they do have a pretty good amount of cap space, but they really have to fix that offensive line. Invest in the line. Look, yeah, Jamar Chase was a good pick, but just imagine what could have happened. We could have had T. Higgins as the number 1 receiver, just depending on him. And imagine if Burrow had that extra half a second to get a throw off.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's any disputing that Jamar Chase was the right pick.
No, he was.
I think Cincinnati's in a weird spot because they still have an amazing bright future. Everyone is still super young, and they're like one of few like Super Bowl losers who has like a clear hole on their team. Like if you go back, if like a lot of teams who lost Super Bowl don't really have something they noticeably need to fix. Rather, they just got outplayed in this one game. Like the Bengals lost because of their offensive line. Like
and it was obvious.
And the thing is, I don't even think they have to get great guys. They can get serviceable guys. I don't know if I'd consider them locks to win the AFC North, but they're definitely going to be in the playoff contention again. They're definitely going to be a upper tier team for many years to come. But I still think that they have a clear agenda. Like if everything else stays the same and they upgrade offensive line, why wouldn't they get better?
Exactly.
No, yeah.
They would be great. If they had a good offensive line, I could easily see them coming back to the Super Bowl again, but they don't. And again, they could get away with it in the regular season, but once it comes to the Super Bowl, it's fatigue from the entire season. It's going to catch up. And we saw them. We saw the offensive line just get completely tired in the playoffs. They couldn't protect Joe Burrow. And in the end, it really cost them. It really did.
Yeah. They have it laid out for them, but it's just going to be tough to get back with the way the AFC is looking for the next decade, honestly.
I know. I will say, I think their defense, I think going into the season, we thought their defense was definitely weak, but wow, their defense really stepped up.
Their free agent signings on defense the past 2 years have been insane. DJ Reader, Von Bell, Trey Hendrickson, Mike Hilton this past year. There's only one bad one, which happens to be Eli Apple. But at least they know they have to upgrade at CB. So
they got to upgrade at corner.
They're going to upgrade at cornerback 2 because their cornerback 1, Chidobe Awuzie, is really good.
He's him also another free agent signing who's been very good.
Great signing.
And I think on the Rams side, they have some work to do. Definitely have some work to do. Cap wise, I know they don't have a pick for however many years.
They're in cap hell right now.
But I don't think
they won a Super Bowl.
They're not worrying that much. Like they have this after every team wins a Super Bowl, at least in my eyes, every team has like maybe a 5-year, 6-year grace period where whatever happens, you can say, "Oh, we won the Super Bowl this many years ago."
You kind of just refresh. You kind of just restart.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously, if they still want to compete, you have to. I could definitely see a scenario where if Von Miller wants to go, which there have been rumors he wants to go back to Denver, Odell Beckham, I honestly don't see him leaving because of his injury. I think he has a home and the Rams want him back. It's just the safest bet for him to stay. But there's these rumors with Donald retiring. I don't know. I mean, their
Oh
division's
yeah,
getting
I saw that. Who was it?
Yeah, that
Keyshawn
was-
Johnson that said
Rodney Harrison.
Donald
Someone's
or Rodney
yeah.
Harrison said oh yeah, if he wins, Donald might retire, which it seems crazy
that
to
would be a
believe.
monumental loss.
But honestly, I mean, with all he's done in his career, like there's not much else for him to do.
I know.
What does he have left to
It's just
prove?
for fun
He's
at this
been-
point.
He's been the best player in the NFL. So
Yeah,
I
mean,
think, yeah,
one of the
definitely
best defensive players of all time.
with the NFC West getting
Easily.
better every year. I don't know if it's a lock to say the Rams will be back, but I think I'd definitely, if I was a betting man, I'd definitely put money on them
I think
being
I would too.
back.
Yeah,
I would too.
both teams have pieces where they could run it back.
Mhm.
I think
Easily. And
it just
especially
depends on the teams that they have to play.
I also think you can, one last thing, you can afford losing some guys because of the guys that they'd lost earlier. Like if Beckham leaves, Robert Woods comes back right in his place. If Von Miller leaves, you have guys to plug and play. Like, yes, it's Von Miller, but they were winning before they traded for him. So
Even with Sony, even like Sony, a guy like Sony Michel, just let him walk.
You
really,
still have Henderson and Akers. You're gonna
and Akers.
they're a deep
two
team.
very talented, very talented, very deep team. So they can honestly they can afford to let a couple guys walk. Definitely Odell. I will say his price point will probably decrease because of the ACL, but still, if he were to walk, it's really not a big deal. They have Robert Woods and Van Jefferson. So
I mean, when you think about it, they have the best wide receiver in the league, the best cornerback in the league, the best defensive lineman in the league. When you have 3 number 1 players at a position in the NFL, you're going to be solid no matter what.
exactly, and a top quarterback. So
Yeah,
and
the team around them.
they were in a similar situation in in 2018 when they made a Super Bowl but lost. They in cap hell, not many draft picks, a star-studded roster, but like again, they don't really, if nothing like goes their way this offseason, it's not the end of the world. They won the Super Bowl. They don't have that pressure, that same pressure as 2018. I'm really happy for the Rams, to be
all
honest. Every
they
single
could-
person.
they could go, not saying they will, they can go 3 and whatever next year. They'd still be riding high on the Super Bowl. Like
If I was a Rams fan, I'd still be like, "Yep, we just won."
exactly.
Yeah.
I say
Can't say
that
anything.
with like any team. Like I'm a Mets fan. If they won in 2015, I wouldn't care what's going on right now.
Oh,
all the
God,
pressure
don't even
would
get
be
me
gone.
started with the
I'm not getting-
2015 World
I'm
Series.
not getting started with this, but it's a good comparison.
They lead
It
in
is.
3 games. 1, 2, 3. In the 7th inning. In all of the games. How do they choke all 3 of
I didn't mean to
Alright, this is-
rile you up.
Quick side quest. As Mets fans.
Well,
Yeah.
you guys are Mets fans. I mean,
Oh yeah. Don't want to drag you. into this.
Majority.
God.
yeah,
Sorry.
Well,
We can get back to
it was-
our
it was a good
regularly
Super Bowl.
scheduled.
good Super Bowl,
Very
good
good Super
NFL
Bowl.
season, and look forward to next year, the NFL.
It's
So
long ways.
that was Sunday, and that capped off a good week. And earlier in the week, we saw the NBA trade deadline heat up. There were some big deals,
Sizzling.
and
One of the
happy
better
to
trade
start-
deadlines in recent history.
in a while. Yeah, in
Definitely.
a while. We could start with some of the smaller deals and work our way up to the bigger deals. And we can start with the Kings and the Pacers made a deal with Sabonis, and it just, I don't hate it for the Kings, but it just seems like they don't have a direction right now.
It just doesn't make sense, right? Like,
Yeah.
again, there's
I kind of disagree.
I
in a
get
way.
that they got a star, but at some point you gotta have a foundation. And I
Yeah.
guess they have that with Fox and Sabonis, but like you just drafted Haliburton
I
last
would have
year.
rather
He's looking like a
rather
star.
had Haliburton over. I honestly would have traded De'Aaron Fox over Haliburton. I don't really
I
get
think
why
also
they traded
what's
him.
going overlooked is giving up Buddy Hield too. I mean, he's not
Yes, and Buddy Hield. They gave up both significant guys for Sabonis. I mean, he's an all-star. Don't get me wrong, but
he is. He's a good player.
but Tyrese Haliburton is a stud.
He's going to be the franchise point guard for the Pacers for a while. If
They
they
are-
keep
the
him,
Kings-
if they don't trade him.
The
They're gonna keep
Kings
him.
are
No
going
chance.
to really regret it. I really don't understand. I mean, hey, quick shout out to JJ Redick for saying this, for mentioning this. I had to check, but it's true. Counting stats wise, De'Aaron Fox is technically the better player, right? Points per game, stuff like that. But when you look at the
I saw
advanced
the interview that
metrics,
you're talking about.
yeah, when you look at the advanced metrics, Haliburton's
Haliburton's
definitely significantly better than De'Aaron Fox. Even if we look at just points per game, it's not like it's a big difference. It's like maybe like 3 points. I don't know. I like Sabonis. He's good, definitely a good player, but giving up Haliburton, that's just really doesn't.
You see,
Yeah.
I agree and I disagree in a sense, because I agree with the fact that I don't know if giving up Haliburton is the right decision, but I think people are overlooking how good Domantas Sabonis really is. Like he's
you gotta
25
start
years
back.
old.
I mean, they didn't
He's
get
20.
fleeced.
He's 25 years old. He's like a 2 or 3 time All-Star. It's not like they traded for a bag of chips. Like this guy's going to be a piece of their team.
I mean, they
Like, I
got
mean,
the
if the
best
Kings-
player in the trade.
If the Kings want to
It's
go
true.
all in
They
for the 10
definitely
seed,
did.
they're doing it. I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell, what's his name? Sabonis. Those are good building blocks.
Rashawn
Like,
Holmes.
Rashawn
some
Holmes is
other
a
guys.
little older. I don't know if he fits their timeline exactly,
Yeah.
but he's still
But
very
he fits their
solid.
timeline this year. I mean,
At
Harrison
least for
Barnes
this
is
year, if they're trying to
solid.
get in. At
they
least
did
they're
trade
trying to
away
get to the
Marvin
play-in.
Bagley.
I was going to mention that. I think that's a very good trade for the Pistons. Obviously, just
Yeah.
taking a flyer on a young guy, but
There's no risk.
I mean,
There's no
it
risk.
wasn't going to work out with the Kings. But
Yeah.
overall, I think this deal was great for Indy because now you have Duarte, Haliburton. You have other young guys.
You
other
still have an
great-
asset in Malcolm Brogdon.
You have and I mean,
Miles Turner.
It's
Yeah.
Miles Turner. If the
I'm
Kings
surprised they kept Turner, didn't trade him.
I mean, I really
Solid.
think that people are overlooking how good Sabonis is only because they gave up Haliburton. Like it shouldn't be
It's-
overlooked that the Kings
it's
have
not
like
like-
a very a top point power forward in the league.
Yeah, it's
They
not
do.
like
They
it's
do.
not like the Kings got absolutely fleeced and they got worse.
It's not like they got Julius
I think-
Randle.
Right. I mean, I think they did get slightly better. It's just obviously with future, but in regards to the future, they gave up a significant
They
piece.
gave up their future.
Yeah, they gave up a franchise guy.
Not their whole future, but they gave up a big piece of their future.
Yeah, but
But Sabonis is
look-
still only like 25 years
Yeah,
old. I mean, it's
it's-
not like he's that old.
I think it's a good trade for both
I think
sides.
it was
But
good.
if we're
Yeah,
looking,
it was good for both
if we're
sides.
looking at long term, it's clearly New Orleans.
I think the Kings they don't have a direction, really, and
Yeah.
I don't know.
They haven't
But
had a
they want to
direction
win
for the
now
past
because
20 years.
Sacramento, yeah,
Pacers.
they don't win, so they want to give themselves a chance to win. But
Yeah.
we can move on to another deal for a rebuilding team with CJ McCollum getting traded to New Orleans, and New Orleans has a sneaky good roster if Zion
Solid.
Williamson actually plays.
Yeah. Once
That's a big if.
Once Zion,
Huge.
obviously big if, but once Zion gets healthy, they'll have McCollum and Brandon Ingram. Offensively, that's
and
Very.
Valanciunas.
and Valanciunas. That is definitely I'd say a good offensive core.
And
Defense might be
Devontae Graham and some other guys. Yeah.
defense might be lacking, but offensively, that's definitely
I don't know.
a top 15 offensive core, I'd say.
They still got Herb
Overall-
Jones to play defense and Jose Alvarado.
Herb Jones is
Other
amazing.
Oh yeah.
I love
Clamp
Herb
God
Jones.
hurt Jose Alvarado. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But solid.
I don't know how much this trade moves the needle for the Pelicans, but it's definitely a move you make with the intent to win because
Exactly.
I don't know, what are they? I think they're like the 10th seed right now. I don't know.
They're
I
fighting
don't
with the
have it in
Kings,
front of me.
probably.
I mean, for next season, it's definitely good. If Zion's healthy, you have a upper tier shooting guard now, but I don't know. It doesn't really move the needle for me that much. Like
But what if let me ask you, if Zion gets healthy, does it
getting healthy and playing like his all-star form are two very different things. So if he plays like his all-star self, the Pelicans could easily be a playoff team. But if he
They're a
struggles
solid
to
team.
stay healthy and struggles with his weight, I don't know if they will.
I mean, yeah, the whole thing was that we just have no idea like when he's going to return, like no update or anything.
I
We
think
have no
that's
idea.
very concerning if I was a Pelicans fan.
Very.
It is. I
very.
think that is a big red flag considering we just have no idea when he's going to come back. Right?
It's just radio silence on their end, which isn't encouraging.
So
Yeah.
But if Zion does get healthy, I like it a lot for New Orleans. But
Yeah.
definitely
So,
a big if.
yeah. And the next deal we can get into is Kristaps Porzingis getting traded to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. I don't understand it at all for
I
either
don't
team,
see
honestly.
it. It doesn't make sense.
Like, what?
And I mean, the Wizards got the better player, but he never plays. And the Mavericks got a guard who has a huge contract, and the power forward has a decent sized contract, and it just doesn't make any sense.
It's a lateral move for the Mavericks. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
make them any better.
Okay. For the
I think
Wizards,
it makes them worse.
I think it makes the Mavericks worse. But for the Wizards, I think it makes them better. Like
Yeah, no,
obviously,
they got a good
there's some
deal.
injury issues with Porzingis, but I think it's just a high upside trade. Like
Yeah.
if he gets back to like actually making threes, and got a very good player.
It kind of seemed like a deal to make a deal for these teams a little bit.
A little bit,
Like
okay,
they
but
were panicking
definitely for the
last second.
Mavericks, I have no idea why they did this. Like they have
No, they do. Not.
like I love Dinwiddie as a Nets fan, but he's been inefficient this year. A torn ACL, and then Davis Burtons, however you pronounce it,
Tons, I think.
disgusting
Bertans.
contract. That is
Disgusting,
just
awful.
yikes. 5 years, 80 mil, 69 guaranteed. Nice, but he just like it's not that's a terrible contract that they're taking.
He was paid.
Yeah.
He was paid to make threes, and he hasn't.
He's
been
not
making
making them.
He's not even the good 3-point
He doesn't
shooter
even-
right now.
There's been a lot of times
like
where he doesn't even
average.
play because of how poorly he's been shooting. But
Exactly. Like I really don't understand it for the Mavs. What are
Yeah.
they doing?
Honestly, either team. And so that was it. Oh, and then we could talk about Montrezl Harrell got traded. Speaking of the Wizards, Montrezl Harrell got traded to the Hornets, and that was a great deal for the Hornets, I think.
Love it
Because
for the Hornets.
They really didn't give anything up, and they got a really solid player. For a
hey,
team that needs
Vernon
great
Carey
defense. I
was
know
a
they
good
gave up Vernon
legend.
Carey, dude.
Okay.
Legend. But he's not a good NBA player. They got a good NBA player for Ish Smith and Vernon Carey, and I mean the Hornets, they needed paint defense, and he does.
You
give it
got
to
a
them.
solid defensive presence to help the Hornets. I think it's very good.
I don't know. I feel like they would have been. It's obviously a good trade because they need to upgrade at center, but Harrell's undersized and he's more of an offensive oriented.
But they didn't give anything up. They didn't give anything up at all.
Yeah.
I would have.
They give up a bag of chips.
I would have liked to see them
literally
make a move for a defensive oriented center, but obviously I can't complain because they upgraded
For what was available,
nonetheless.
that's a solid deal.
I think so too. I definitely agree.
And
Yeah, it's a good deal. I don't know.
And then, so the Knicks and Lakers were two teams that probably should have made a deal, but I don't think necessarily that these teams not making a deal was a bad thing.
I don't know.
I disagree.
Well, obviously it's the New York Knicks, but spelled Nix, because they nixed this deadline. Okay, jokes aside, but okay. To be fair, I get that they probably should have made a deal, but maybe trade Randall. But
They didn't panic. That was what I was going to say. They didn't panic and make
Yeah.
a bad deal
to
where
be
they
fair,
gave up a young asset.
what are they gonna get? What are they gonna get for Randall? Realistically?
I mean,
what
they
are they gonna
could have got De'Aaron Fox, but then once he was traded, once Haliburton was traded, they weren't going to get Fox. And they were going
Yeah.
to try and get McCollum, but then he got traded somewhere else. Like there wasn't many options where
They
didn't panic.
They didn't
Well,
do
they
much.
would have traded for Porzingis
And
back
it's,
again.
and it's like a like they're not going to do that. They had it's a giant contract on a player. I mean, yeah, he would just shows no effort. Very, very lackadaisical. Doesn't care about anything. So I get it. They probably should have traded him, but you're not really going to get much for him. You really weren't. And it's the same with the Lakers. Like, people were saying, "Oh, trade Westbrook, trade Westbrook." Who wants Westbrook? Who?
They offered him to teams and they said no.
Like, tell me one team that needs him.
They literally offered Westbrook and a first-round pick to take on one of the biggest contracts in basketball and John Wall. And the Rockets said
no.
And
they said no. That just shows you.
John Wall's not even playing for them.
Like, exactly. They were willing to take John Wall, who's not, and give up a first-round pick to a guy that's not even playing. But they still couldn't give up Russell Westbrook. So
yeah,
realistically, you can't get anything for him. He's just washed. West brick, whatever you want to call him, involving bricks or turnovers. It's true. His true shooting percentages are just disgusting. He's gonna, if the Lakers make the play, they're probably gonna make the playoffs. But in the playoffs, he's just not good. Like, very inefficient. So yeah, I mean, not looking good for the Lakers at all.
No, not at all. I think with the Lakers, they just didn't have enough assets. Like, who would they besides Westbrook? They're not trading Anthony Davis. They're obviously not trading LeBron.
You're trading Dalen Horton-Tucker?
He sucks. He sucks.
I mean, at one point they could have. He was a good piece to have, but he's a bum now. He's a scrub. He's a bona fide scrub now. Nobody wants him. No one wants anybody on the Lakers. I don't really get the slander for them saying, oh, you should have traded. They don't have anything to trade. Like,
they don't.
They really don't. So yeah, that's my thing on the Lakers.
All right, and the biggest deal of the day was Harden to the Sixers for Ben Simmons and some other stuff. Capio, you got any on this?
It seems like he has something to say.
I love it for Brooklyn. I love it. Yo, I saw Bleacher Report. They gave it a B for Brooklyn. That's bull crap. It should be an A+++.
That's not true.
No, okay. Now let me.
I think a B is the right score.
Maybe an A.
A B is the right score.
I made a video on this on TikTok, but I'll go over it again. Got Ben Simmons, who he's a slashing hop step guy
who's been terrible for 2 seasons.
He has not been terrible. He has been the most overhated player in the league.
So passing up a wide open dunk in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay, let's look at one shot that he didn't take.
He hasn't played in the whole season, and people are assuming he's going to be an all-star again.
Well, no, but people are like, oh, he sucks. He didn't take the last shot. That's not his game.
But it's any player in the NBA has a wide open dunk. You're taking it.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
So overhated. Just look at what he provides. Okay, look at what he provides the Nets.
What?
He's a
brick
slasher.
Threes?
He doesn't have to shoot threes. Look how many shooters he has around him. He's got Seth Curry.
So you're telling me that James Harden is going to have less of an impact than what Ben Simmons is going to have?
I'm not saying that James Harden, but I think as a collective like trade, the Nets got better than Philadelphia. Once all healthy.
I disagree with that.
Disagree. I think the Nets won the deal, but the Sixers got better because Ben Simmons wasn't playing.
Well, okay, yeah. He literally wasn't playing.
I do think that they didn't lose anything.
The Nets won the deal, in my opinion, because everyone's saying, oh, like, yeah, Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond. They're underestimating those 2 first-round picks that they got.
Exactly. They didn't get just one. They got 2.
Yeah. Everyone's
How did they get 2 first-round picks?
Everyone's saying, oh, it's going to be like end of the first round, which is what, 25th or 30th pick. These are some of the notable 25th or 30th picks in the last 5 years. Just to name a few. Cam Thomas, Emmanuel Quickley, Desmond Bane, Jordan Poole, Keldon Johnson, Kevin Porter Jr., Robert Williams, Derek White, Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma. Just in the last 5 years.
Exactly.
Those are all solid role players that they can get from those 2 first.
Those guys
trade them.
Yeah, or you could trade them. You could trade them for CJ McCollum. You know, shout out to Josh Hart, Villanova alum. But anyways, But everyone's saying, oh, they're just in the first round. They might not be all-stars, but these guys are definitely impact. These are impact guys.
If the Nets were to have flipped those 2 first-round picks for a center,
I
it
thought they were
would have
going
been
to
an
do that.
A+ move.
I was surprised they didn't do that.
The only reason
it doesn't.
I dislike this trade is because of what could have been. The Nets, when they traded for Harden, had this whole vision, and it came crashing down. And now you traded. You can't deny you traded a top, debatably 10 player to a rival team who has the MVP favorite. I don't care if James Harden's unhappy. You just gifted your rival an upgrade from nothing. They didn't.
To be fair,
up
KD
anything.
was the MVP, but he was the MVP favorite.
Embiid is the MVP favorite as of today.
Before he got hurt, okay, sure. But I think once Simmons starts playing again,
there's no guarantee Simmons is going to be good.
Okay, he's averaging. Before he just didn't play. He averaged 14, 16 points a game. That's very solid. He doesn't have a jump shot. Doesn't matter. Look how many shooters and scorers he doesn't have. He has around him. He
fits the Nets.
He fits perfectly with the Nets. They can space the floor, and he can just do his thing. If anything, I wouldn't be surprised if he had a career high in points per game. Because he has so much floor space.
He's not gonna need to. Didn't you just say he's not gonna have to score as much?
He doesn't have to.
He's not gonna have to.
He doesn't have to be the primary or even secondary scorer like he had to be in. Philly fans were dying for him to develop. I totally get it, but let's be real. That's not his game. He needs to be surrounded by shooters.
It was his game when he won Rookie of the Year.
But he
just sucked. And now everyone automatically.
No, he didn't suck. He didn't suck.
He was still an all-star.
He was still an all-defensive player. Are we saying an all-defensive player twice? Right? He had 2 all-defensive teams, and I think he got an All-NBA. Maybe it was like a third team, but
I'm not denying he was good before last year, but there's no denying that he wasn't good. He wasn't good. He was not good.
Okay.
He was a negative player
in the 2020 to 2021 in the regular season. You're telling me he wasn't a good player?
I'm sorry to bring this up again, but it's such a good example. Any player in their right mind, when you're standing under the hoop, we have a wide open layup dunk, you're gonna take it. Anyone who passes that up,
sure, he made a mistake.
No confidence. There's no confidence. He's in his own head. And there's all of this assumption that he's automatically going to be back. It's not a mistake. He did it on purpose.
He made a bad decision. That's
no
all.
player rightfully in their right mind passes up an open dunk to a teammate that's long behind him just to miss the dunk.
Good thing now he's on the Nets. Once there's KD and Kyrie, he's not going to have that.
And you know what they had to give up for him?
He's never going to have to be in that
James
situation.
Harden.
Oh, James Harden.
There's this whole talk of the big three.
Inefficiency monster this year. He was shooting like 41% total. Like he's having his least efficient season since
the point I'm trying to make is that the Nets traded a top 10 player in the league to their rival while their rival didn't. Like they traded nothing basically. Seth Curry is good, but he's not going to move the needle. James Harden is going to move the needle.
But they got Ben Simmons.
But there's no guarantee Ben Simmons is going to be good. There's no guarantee.
What are we talking about?
There's no guarantee.
At worst, he will provide great defense. At worst.
Okay. And is that worth trading James Harden?
The Nets needed defense desperately.
But they didn't need to trade James Harden. They traded James Harden because Kyrie wouldn't get a shot.
James Harden was having his least efficient season this season. Mm-hmm. Who cares? He was showing up late
Kyrie
every
Irving
game.
Wouldn't get a shot. Now they can bond over missed shots.
That's
yeah.
Okay, that was good. But
I just think I know they gave up James Harden, but they got a good deal back for him.
Yes,
they did. But I'm just there's no denying that everyone's saying, "Oh, this is an A+ trade for the Nets." It's not an A+ trade because they gave up James Harden.
It doesn't
You give up
look
James
how much
Harden,
they
that's
got
not-
back. Look how much they got back for him.
They got a great package back, but
They
you
got
lost
an
James
insane
Harden to your
package.
rival.
It doesn't matter.
It
We're not
does
talking
matter.
about MVP Harden. We're talking about James Harden, who
Who's
gained a
still
lot
a
of weight,
top 10,
turns
15 player in the
turns the
league.
ball over a lot, shoots like 2 for 11, shows up late. Okay, maybe it's because he didn't want to be there, but he's still very inefficient season this year. Like, I don't care. Once Ben Simmons plays, he is going to make an immediate impact. At worst, he provides elite defense on he can lock up any point guard. Maybe except for like Steph or one of them on his own team, Kyrie Irving. But really, come on. I think Ben Simmons is the most overhated player. People
I think it's fair to hate him.
Rick Simmons.
It's completely fair to hate him.
No, it's not.
He hasn't shown anything the past season to warrant him being a good player.
He's a great passer.
Oh,
Rebounds. He's good. He's a great defender. The only thing he can't do is shoot the ball.
score, which is half of basketball.
It doesn't matter though. He doesn't have to
He
score.
doesn't get. That's right. He
have
really
to
doesn't need to score. He really doesn't.
So you traded James Harden for a guy to defend and pass. Congrats.
I mean,
And a shooter and a rebounder and 2 first-round picks.
and 2 first-round picks.
I don't know. Okay, fine. If
I
Ben Simmons
think
plays,
it was a good trade for both teams. I think it's a good trade
if
for both
Ben
teams.
Simmons plays at an all-star level, I'm wrong. I'll admit it. I'm incorrect.
Well, let's
But
not
I can't-
forget, he was an all-star last season.
He was also one of
was.
the worst shooters in the entire league. One of the worst,
We've-
least
we-
efficient players in the
we're-
entire least
Least shooting efficient.
But that means that you're betting on him to come back at an all-star level without shooting anyway.
Exactly. He never was a shooter. What? Why are we hating on him so much just because he can't shoot? He
We're
never
not
was a
hate-
shooter.
I'm not hating on Ben Simmons. I'm hating on the idea of trading him
You
for James
just said,
Harden.
Rick Simmons, but
You said that, not me.
that was you. Wow,
The
whatever.
fact that you traded James Harden for a guy who has his question marks. You traded James Harden, one of
But
the
those-
3 big 3. This was
He
rumored to
doesn't
be the
have-
best starting lineup since the Bulls in the 90s.
He doesn't have to develop a jump shot because look how many shooters he has around him. Patty Mills, Cam Thomas, Joe Harris once he's healthy. And then the scores, KD and Kyrie. Even I can count LaMarcus Aldridge as a shooter too.
It's a good trade for both
And
sides.
Steph Curry,
I don't think it's fair to say that there's no question marks surrounding the trade.
obviously, once we need to see if Ben Simmons is when he's gonna play, but I'm saying he's in a different situation, very different situation. Okay, the reason why, let me say this, the reason why the Sixers needed Ben Simmons to become a scorer, they had Tobias Harris, but they needed a little more support. But now you have KD and Kyrie. You have the
For
best
50%
player.
of the games.
Okay, whatever. But once come playoff
That's a
time,
big thing.
come playoff time, the Nets are probably just going to end up paying the fine. New York might end up lifting the mandate before that, anyways.
That's a big might. That's all I'm going to say.
It doesn't matter. Like
I don't know.
all of a sudden he passes up one open dunk and now he's the worst player in the league.
But that's the epitome of a bad player.
No, it's not. Because
he has no confidence.
Okay, he might not have confidence in scoring, but he has.
And also, he hasn't been
easily an elite defender, a great rebounder for a point guard, and a great passer, and he provides a mismatch on basically every point guard in the league.
I think, yes, you're right. He's a great defensive player, but there's no denying. This is the last thing I'll say about this. He hasn't been on a basketball court for the entirety of this season, plus the offseason last year. That's a long time. Right. And for people to assume he's just going to come back instantly and be this all-star top-tier guy, that's all I'm saying. It might take some time. He might get there, and I'm wrong.
Sure, it might take some time, but
do the Nets have time?
He doesn't have.
Now. I don't know if they have.
He doesn't have. Okay, but he doesn't have he doesn't have to have that much pressure on him, considering after the All-Star break.
I don't know. I mean, being traded for James Harden, I mean, you're gonna have to live up to what you were traded for.
Okay, but they also got Seth Curry and Andre Drummond, which, by the way, Andre Drummond will definitely get more minutes considering
The Seth Curry and Andre Drummond parts I like because they're playing right away.
Oh, but you don't like the Ben Simmons part?
No, because Seth Curry and Andre Drummond haven't been
But he's in a
the
way
least
better
confident,
situation.
least efficient player in the league.
Style. He fits it. The Nets fit his play style.
I guess we'll just have to wait and see then whether that's
Sure.
all we're gonna have to do.
Sure.
You're gonna have to wait and see on that. But we can move on to the winner and losers of the trade deadline because I feel like these two teams might come up in these. So I could start with I had two winners. One, my secondary winner was the Hornets because I think they got Montrezl Harrell for absolutely nothing. And I also had the 76ers because even though I said the Nets won the deal, Ben Simmons wasn't going to play for them. Yeah. And they basically got James Harden for Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks, which is a steal for them, right? So I think the 76ers, I think they won. And then the loser for me of the trade deadline was Luka Doncic and the Mavericks.
Yes.
Because they gave up for Luka. He loses his pick and pop partner and Porzingis, and he gets another guard on his team.
And Davis Bertans.
And they get even worse, honestly, in cap room. They don't get any better with cap. So I think he lost, honestly, in this trade deadline.
I think the Mavs were a clear loser. I had them too. And then
just to get that away.
I also think the winners are quite clear also. I think it's the Nets and the 76ers. Look, it was a good deal for both sides. And I might just be a Nets homer, but I really think that this is a different situation. He doesn't have to become this shooter. He doesn't have to become a shooter because he's got all these shooters around him. It takes a lot of pressure off Ben Simmons. So I think, and then obviously with Harden, I know he's been inefficient this year. I know, but it's James Harden. So come on. And they got him, and it's replacing Ben Simmons, who literally wasn't playing. So it's basically nothing. You're just adding James Harden. So it was a great deal for both sides. I will say that.
Yeah. I have the Sixers as one of my winners. I think for the reasons you guys both said, it's pretty clear. I mean, getting James Harden in any deal is going to make you a winner. And then I also have the Pacers because
I was going to mention them.
They got a young stud who's going to be elite for years to come. And yes, they did lose Sabonis, but the Pacers solved their spacing issues and have their backcourt of the future now. So I definitely think they're winners.
Yeah, shout out to the Pacers. I was thinking about putting them, but I let my Nets bias get the best of me. Although I genuinely believe they benefited.
I do think the Nets. I don't have the Nets as losers. I don't think that.
No,
I
think
they were not at all.
They were up there. They had a good deal.
I think the Mavericks are losers, and then I also think the Lakers are losers because yes, I know you guys said that. What is there to trade? But given their circumstances right now, I don't think it's
something had to change.
I don't think it's fair to say, oh, they were okay not making a move. Like that's not true.
No, they weren't. They were not okay
somewhere.
They weren't okay with not making a move. They just exactly.
But that's also part of the problem. That's also why they're losers.
Yeah,
being just because you don't make it's part of the reason why they didn't make a trade. Like they didn't make a trade because they spent all these assets on a guy who's literally like negatively affecting their team. And then they're just signing Russell Westbrook, by the way.
Russell Westbrook literally has a negative box plus minus.
Like if they had kept KCP, Harrell, Kuzma, the picks, whatever, that's many, many more assets to trade. And also signing these random vets to minimum deals aren't going to get you much, like Wayne Ellington. And I guess, yes, Melo's not going to be traded, but it still fits the principle. But
it does.
I think overall, I don't know. Lakers should have made a move. I can also throw the Knicks in there too, like for this kind of the same thing. Yes, they're in a different spot because they have young talent, but I wish they did offload some of their vets that they know that aren't really part of their future plans. But mainly the Mavs and the Lakers are my losers.
Yeah. And I think the Wizards kind of lost a little bit. because they gave up Dinwiddie and Harrell.
I mean, getting Davis
if
Bertans
Porzingis
is
plays,
good.
Giving up
Not
giving up
losing- getting
Harrell
Porzingis, I mean.
was pretty tough.
Yeah.
But Harrell wasn't
and then,
part of
yeah.
their future anyway.
No, he wasn't.
But yeah,
But-
I think if it really depends on if Porzingis plays.
Yeah.
That's
No,
basically
definitely.
the only thing. And if he plays, they're winners. But
Yeah.
But if not,
Doesn't
then
when they lose.
clear losers. So
But yeah, so that's it for the NBA trade deadline for us. And coming up soon is the NBA All-Star game. And we saw this past week the All-Star game draft between Giannis and LeBron. I mean, LeBron and Kevin Durant. And so we decided that we should do our own All-Star draft, which is obviously different with 3 people. So what we're going to do is we got there's 22 guys you can choose from. 1 guy will not be picked. And we're going to go through stake draft, 3 teams, All-Star game mock draft, 5 starters, 2 bench players. You got to build you can't just pick the 5 best players. You have you got to have some big men.
Real
You got to have some
roster.
guards. Yeah, real roster to try and
I like
try and
this.
compete.
Should be fun.
So on the clock, first overall pick, Zach, you got this one. Who are you going with your first overall pick?
All right. So I guess I didn't anticipate being first, but I guess I'm gonna go with Giannis as my first pick.
I like it.
very
So that leaves me now with the next pick. And I'm going to take the MVP candidate in Joel Embiid. To anchor down the paint there. He's playing really, really well. So I'm going to take Joel Embiid with the second pick.
Oh yeah. All right. So I guess gives me the third
Yeah.
pick.
Back picks now for Matt.
Don't overthink it. Taking Curry, best point guard in the league. Okay. Yeah, best point guard in the league. And then I get another pick, right? LeBron's on the board.
Wait, and you guys know that LeBron is on the board, right?
He is?
Yes.
Well then
Yeah.
give me LeBron. Give me
Yeah.
LeBron. Don't overthink it.
Yeah, that's a good pick right there. So
Getting
I'm
him
up
second
now.
round. I like it.
And looking at who we've got available, there's 2 guys I want to go with. But considering I just picked the big man, I won't go with Jokic. And I'm going to pick John Morant
Oh, okay.
to be my point guard.
Very
on my team.
solid.
That doesn't that's okay with
Got
me.
Morant and Embiid now.
I, with my second pick, I'm going to take Devin Booker.
I like it.
And Splash King.
And I guess, okay, now I could go with, ooh, this is tough. I'm going to go with Luka as my point guard.
I was gonna. All right, that's a good pick.
Feeling sorry for Luka after this trade deadline though.
Yeah, he should be looking forward to the All-Star game after that trade.
Yeah.
deadline.
Not
But,
because there's not much to look forward to after that.
no, there's not at all. So I've got Joel Embiid and John Morant. And I'm gonna go ahead and space the floor a little bit with Nikola Jokic as my next
Good
pick.
pick.
I was gonna take
Pair up Jokic and Embiid. So
I
now
feel
you
like
got
I
2
do. I feel like I do need a big, but I'm not going with the big. I'm gonna go with DeMar DeRozan and give me Jason Tatum.
picks.
Ooh.
Wow.
Jeez.
I like
Rosen and
I
Tatum
like that.
off the board.
Okay.
I like it too. So now I've got a pick here. I'm not going to overthink this. Maybe I am going to overthink.
now
this
you're
one.
overthinking it.
It's between Trae Young, Zach LaVine, and LaMelo Ball. Oh, actually, I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell
Ooh.
to be my my 2 guard, my starting lineup.
All right. So looking at my board, I need a small forward and a center. So I'm going to take Cat with my first pick, and I'm between 2
Arguably
guys
second.
here.
Arguably best shooting center of all time.
I'm between
Putting it
2
over.
guys. I'm between Jimmy Buckets and Zach LaVine. This is tough. Give me Jimmy with his defense.
Jimmy Butler. Nice. All right. So now I got to pick here to round out my starting lineup, or I can get a bench guy. I've got my point guard, my shooting guard, and 2 bigs. So I'm going to take the guy you didn't take, and I'm going to take Zach LaVine
All right.
to be my 3.
That sounds good. Now,
Now who you got?
ooh. Wait, Trey Young's still on the board?
Trae Young is still on the board. Yeah.
Then give me Trey Young. And I got shooters gonna shoot. I got shooters galore right here.
Now you
Just
get
like
another
the
pick.
just like the Nets.
You have another pick.
Oh yeah, you're right. I do got another pick. So then I'm gonna pick. I think I'm gonna pick the boy CP3, the point guard.
So you've got a bench guy. I need a bench guy. And I'm a big fan of this guy. And I'm going to take DeJounte Murray as a bench point guard.
All right. So that means I'm gonna.
These are your last 2 picks, Zach.
My last 2 picks. Yeah. Given the lack, I mean, I have Cat and Giannis, and Butler's a pretty big forward. I don't need Gobert.
He's a big guy.
I'm gonna go with LaMelo.
Actually, maybe you have 2 more picks after this. I'm not sure. Let's see.
I'm gonna go with LaMelo.
All right, so LaMelo Ball.
What is it? I'm deciding between Darius Garland and Chris Middleton. I gotta go with Chris Middleton. I gotta get some wing depth.
Okay.
All right, so those are your 2 picks that you go with here. So left on the board, we have Wiggins, Garland, Fred VanVleet, Rudy Gobert, and James Harden, which is technically going to be Jarrett Allen.
Yeah, let's make that clear. That's
yeah.
so
It's going to be Jarrett Allen. It's going to be Jarrett Allen. I've got my. I'm going to go with another big man and take Rudy Gobert to be a backup big.
For the joke, I wanted to take Gobert. Hopefully, and I was hoping that he would fall and then Harden would still be there, but dang. All right. Well, then I'm gonna take. I got 2 picks, right?
Yeah.
All right, then I guess I'm taking Darius Garland, and because Harden is there in Allen's in parentheses, I'm not taking Harden because Harden abandoned ship. Wait, I'm taking Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, all-star starter, still on the board at the end of the draft.
Surprising hell.
I think that tells you everything you need to know, even though all-star starters don't matter.
So there's 2 guys left on the board now. So I'll get 1 and Zach will get 1. And I've got my starting lineup. I've got a backup guard and a backup big. So I'm going to take Fred VanVleet to finish off this team.
That actually worked out well. I get a backup center.
Exactly like Jarrett Allen.
I like that.
I have no real center. I still think my team would win.
I don't know, man.
I'll just
my
put
team's pretty good.
I'll be like the Lakers.
No big.
I'll put LeBron at center.
You literally don't.
LeBron would get killed against
LeBron
Giannis.
is at center. He can guard
LeBron
all 5. Okay,
literally,
no, he actually can't.
He would
your
get killed
biggest
against my Giannis.
My floor spacing goes crazy right now.
Your guard, Trae Young his ankles would still be seen if guarding Luka or Booker.
Doesn't matter.
Look at the
I
bigs on the
got
other team.
CP3. I got CP3 as a great defender.
But look at these. Zach's got Cat and Jarrett Allen and Giannis. I've got
LaMelo.
Jokic and Gobert.
Yeah,
Yo,
Capio.
where's the shooting? Where's the shooting right there?
Booker and Luka,
Jokic, Donovan
Middleton.
Let me go through mine. Oh, sorry, my entire team. My entire team is full of shooters. Yo,
LeBron's not a shooter.
Three's worth more than a 2. Yo, what are you talking about? LeBron
Defense is also half the game.
With his signature, about to dribble, then snatch the ball back, and then step back 3.
I don't
know what it is. I swear that move works every single time. Like defenses, they always fall for it, and it just works. I don't know what it's a goofy looking move, but hey, it gets the job done. Arguably greatest player of all time, but that is a debate for another day.
Arguably because number 2.
I don't even care.
But that's a debate for another day.
Yeah.
But that was I
Love
like
my
that.
team.
Going through, picking our own
Love my
teams.
team.
We can
That
maybe
was
see how our
fun.
guys play and during the All-Star game and see if we pick the right teams there.
We should run a
Um,
2K simulation.
we
I'm about
could.
I'm about to run a 2K simulation.
All
With
right,
these.
let us know how that goes.
All right,
Post it
I
on
will
TikTok, GTN Sports Pod on TikTok.
follow us.
Posting rankings videos and other reaction videos and stuff on there. So make sure to go check that out.
You'll see on the
for sure.
TikTok. You'll see how much I love the Nets trade. So
And how much we love Cooper Cup. But
facts.
I think that's all we have for today.
Yep.
Nice episode today, going through trade deadline and Super Bowl recap and doing a nice fun mock draft at the end. Keeping it
Very fun
simple, but
episode.
keeping it fun. So any last words from you guys?
Cooper Cup number 1, and Ben Simmons is a good player. I don't want to hear it.
I know DeJounte Murray got snubbed for the All-Star game originally. I'm glad to see him in because he deserves it.
Yep, we love it. All right,
Odell got his ring.
He did.
love
He
to
did.
see it. I'm happy.
Giants legend.
Yo, did you hold on?
Sad that he tore his ACL, but
You guys see
You guys
that graphic on Instagram that SportsCenter posted? Like it says it
Yep.
has Odell with the ring, but then
Yeah.
it's like then it's Eli and
it's Eli
Jarvis.
Manning.
Like, what kind of
How
post
does
was that?
How is Eli Manning on that?
Eli Manning won
Why
2
is
Super Bowls
Eli
before
Manning
Odell was
has
in the
more?
league.
He has more than him. He has more Super Bowls than him.
Literally. Why is he but like what is even the point of that?
And
Any
it's not
any
like, it's
chance
not
they
like
get to
Landry
shit talk the Giants, they take.
and Landry was rooting for Odell to get a ring. It's not like he was disrespected by it. Like
Yeah, like and I'm sure Calvin John is happy for his quarterback. The only bright spot of those 2000s lines. So
yeah,
I don't get ESPN's Instagram sometimes, but
gotta do it.
whatever.
But that's why we do this, so we can contradict it. But
Nope.
yeah, good episode this week for you guys, for all of us, and see you guys next week.
Yep. Until next time.